Powered by Riverside.
Welcome to the next episode of the World's Beautiful Game Podcast, episode 3 for season 3, as we're calling it. And it's probably our best episode yet because the season is underway for the Premier League. Will, how are you feeling? How excited are you? 1 week down already. What you thinking, man?
Well, depressed and excited because it's an exciting start, but obviously our team loves to disappoint us. So it's kind of like that father that went for milk and never coming back. You just know they're gonna always disappoint.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, as United fans, that was the one game for us to watch. Of course, we do try to watch as much as we can, but we do try to root for our team, and unfortunately, our team wasn't up for it like Hull was. But we'll get into that as we kind of go through some of the bigger games or some of the bigger matchups or highlights from the matchups that really caught our attention the most. But we do have a bit of an agenda today. We're going to go through obviously the first set of matches for the Premier League, and then from Friday to Monday. Then after that, we're going to talk a little bit about just fantasy league that we got going on because we do got money on that, so that's always a big one to talk about. We always talk about our Americans abroad, so we'll go into that a little bit also. And remind me again, I know we had one more on the docket there. What's the last thing that we have on there?
So fantasy, the Americans abroad, pretty much the other things.
And then just anything happening around the world of football, because it's not just the Premier League that started. Obviously, there's Champions League already on the way, Europa League's on the way. So whatever we can squeeze in, we'll try to keep it brief, but we definitely want to make sure we talk to
Champions League that pertains to our Americans. Yep.
So to start the week, we had a game on Friday, which was the first game to kick us off. Arsenal, obviously, playing against Coventry, which I think went as expected. Coventry, a team down their biggest goal scorer last season, American Haji Wright, was out. They did pick up a striker for this season. But Arsenal, as they are the team that it was stout defensively last year. Yes, they don't have Saliba, obviously, but we are looking at a team that also picked up a big defender from Barcelona, who we'll see how that turns out. I know he came in at some point in the game, but he didn't start. Araujo?
What did you say? Saliba?
I'm thinking Liverpool.
You threw me off. That's why Konsa.
Well, Konsa came in from Villa. Excuse me.
Yes.
Sorry. I just had a game today. Apologies. Just got back. Still sweaty from the game. But yes, no. But I'm another team that also changed their back line. But yes, Konsa coming in from Aston Villa. A big pickup for them. I think a big opportunity for him to play on obviously a Champions League side who won the Premier League last year. So interesting to see where he'll fit in all this once Saliba gets back, but it's a big pickup for them, of course.
Well, even before he gets back, see where they'll fit in and kind of how they slot, because they still have a lot of defenders, including the players that played this weekend. So that's but that game, yeah.
He's a guy who's going to be able to play kind of multiple positions for them as they're playing obviously in 4 competitions, and they're hoping to get to that Champions League final once again. So a big piece for them to add, of course. What do you make of it for him? Because this is a big opportunity for him as a player coming from another team that did pretty well last season, but obviously coming to the champions, right, of the Prem. Like that's a big signing for Arsenal for sure, for depth to continue making sure that they're ready for a long haul, but also for him, great opportunity to showcase himself.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they kind of slot him in or put him in, because with Gabriel and Mosquera, who also had a solid first game, then you still got Ben White and Calafiori that played. So you already have 4 solid guys, and like you said, Saliba's still out, so that still adds another one. And then Hincapié also is another player that's there, so that's another quality starter who's also young. It's going to be an interesting way to see how concept fits in, how they're going to play everybody, or how they're going to keep egos in check and kind of see how how they are okay with limiting big time minutes. Like it's crazy because honestly, I know they want to have enough rotation for Champions League, but it just seems like they already have plenty to rotate in. So, um, yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, again, I think he helps any back line, even this team. Just where, how, um, we will see. I am curious to see once he's ready to go, what's going to happen with them. But yeah, I mean, they look sharp. They look like they picked up where they left off last season, and they look good so far. So as you know, we said in the beginning, it's going to be hard to see who's gonna bump them out of the top spot, and they look every bit of it so far.
Big
So
big surprise coming out of this game. Also, obviously, I don't want to talk too much about Conte, but Cholis or Solis, however you pronounce his name,
uh,
he
yeah.
was everywhere, all over the place, contributing shots on goal, assists, and just the most dangerous guy on the field for Arsenal.
Hmm.
Obviously, he contributed to Saka getting a goal. Odegaard gets one. Havertz, the three guys. I don't know if you saw this or not, but the first time since December that all three Saka, Havertz, and Odegaard played together. So that's a crazy stat. The three best players on their team didn't even get an opportunity to start together for a good amount of that season. Basically, the second half of that season. Odegaard has a lot to prove this season, I would say, because he's their captain and the guy that played for Real Madrid as a kid came here with big expectations. I don't know that he lived up to it last season. I know he had injury issues last year, maybe last year and a half. But what do you make of him and what he needs to do for that team to get even better than what they were?
Just stay healthy. I mean, I think he is living up to expectations when he is healthy and when he gets rolling. But naturally, um, at this level, you need to be you need to be consistent. Obviously, injuries they're avoid. Well, it's hard to say. Obviously, they're not avoidable. I guess if you're injury prone, you're injury prone, and I feel like he is a bit injury prone. But if he can get going and get his consistent games in without getting big injuries and just picking up minor ones where he's barely off, I think he's living up to expectations. Maybe not the original expectations of what they expected from him at Real Madrid to be like the next Bellingham, right? Because what Bellingham everybody's expecting, I think that's what they expected him to be. But after not kind of being able to do that and then coming there, I think that's kind of where they're looking with him. But he is definitely a very important player, and he did get a man of the match in that one. So
Yeah,
it
I
looks like
mean,
he's starting off the right foot.
yeah, I think also important note, and we'll probably leave it off on here. Obviously, Arsenal picked up Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, who just
And
wholesaled their whole team out. Um,
and
who am I missing? Sorry, I got fog right now after the after.
goalkeeper,
Oh yes, I mean, well, this just happened today, so
yeah,
um, uh, what you call it?
it's important. It's big.
I know.
Yeah,
Tell me
I mean
again. I'm sorry,
Martinez. Yeah.
but he went to Chelsea, didn't he?
Oh shoot, Jesus Christ. Yep, you're
Yeah,
right.
no.
Never mind.
That's what I was
See,
like.
now you're throwing me
I'm
off and throwing
sorry,
me
dude.
off, right? No, that's it.
Yeah, no. So,
No, but yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. Jesus.
we'll get to that team also.
We'll
But
get to them. But no,
uh,
yeah, I mean they picked up like you said, and well, it's interesting because Rice got subbed out for Subimendi.
yeah, that's a big one too because we were talking
So
about this last week.
Rice never rests, pretty much. Rice, is pretty usually plays. So that's either, hey, we're pretty much trying to get our price for him for Madrid to come in and kind of give him his last licks to kind of make himself to sell at a higher price, or they're pretty much telling Zubi, hey, we want you to stay. It's kind of like, hey, to take out Declan Rice. I know they're obviously winning, but still, he still always plays. So
Yeah, that surprises me because if anyone you would think, but again, I think this does come a lot down to Bruno getting injured because I think that's probably who they expect to kind of bring in and out. But how much do you think?
well, because they still got Eze and Merino in there too, so that's just crazy. It's like when you look at the players, you got Wanry, I forget how you say his name, Wanry, the kid, Ethan
One
and
year,
Wanry,
one
one
year,
year. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, him. So he still plays. I mean, he didn't get in. And then Goikarez up top. Just I'm not saying obviously he's up
and
top, but
their Wonder Boy didn't play either, Max Dowman, who
yeah,
uh,
Domino's exactly. He's still on the bench. He was on the bench for that game, so he didn't play. So again, that just has they have so much players, and I know that they're trying to think for the long haul, but there's certain players here that are like, hey, this was already last season was my make or break to kind of get me in for more time. If I'm not going here, I think he'd rather probably be on the bench for Madrid than for Arsenal.
that's fair. I mean,
You know,
I can't see him not doing that. Which fingers crossed for United. I'm kind of hoping that goes down because that may give
Camavinga
us actually
available.
a player from Rao that maybe want to come this way to United. So that would be, and that's what they call a great segue because now we're going to go into United and Hull. Who kudos to Hull 2-0 game. They win it at home in their home opener. They looked like they were up for this one, man. Like as I was watching this, like it's just getting that like Amarim start to last season. It feels like the same thing all over again. And I don't understand it, to be honest with you. I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but I think the only thing that I would say is I don't want to overreact because it's one game, but and several pieces going in for the first time to play together. So I think there's a lot there. But we really need to solidify our back line. Like we're still missing so much back.
It was just frustrating. To see it seems like they were just kind of again like they weren't ready to start off the season. Obviously Hull's excited. They're playing at home. They're in the Premier League again, and obviously they're playing Giants even if it's in name. And well,
Packed out
last season,
stadium,
yeah, and obviously United ended the season well last season, so they're playing a top team from the Premier League from last season. So yeah, they were ready for everything, but it just seemed like Cunha, Dorgu, um, Tillman's, I don't think he should have started. I feel like Kobe Mino should have started
I
that
just think
game.
he's still not 100% healthy. I think that's why
But
he's not
I don't
starting.
think Tillman should have started that game at all. Santos, it seems like he's still getting his legs in. Bruno was the only one that had a decent game. Maguire, obviously,
Man, but the talk after the game was like Bruno was the worst thing that ever happened to life, which is
yet
crazy.
somehow he had the highest rating on the team. So that makes a lot of sense. Mazraoui was kind of just in shock. They all, I mean, all of them, literally the whole team. Cunha just it didn't seem like, and then even when the guys came in, Rashford didn't inject anything, didn't really do anything. Sheshko, same thing. Dalot, like anything we could really talk
Yeah, there
about
was
it,
just
but it's more like I feel like it took away a lot from what Hull did because Hull didn't play scared. So it's more kudos and respect
no that
to
dude
Hull.
Ollie McBurney, man. That dude looked like
Yeah.
prime Ronaldo half the game, just like taking people
Hmm.
on,
Yeah.
making things happen on the back post. Like he just was winning headers in the box. Like
Yeah.
he
If
dude was
Hull plays that way throughout the whole season, it'll be a pleasant surprise for them to be in the top 10 easily.
which is nice for them
Um,
because everyone
yeah.
wrote him off bad. Like I
Uh-huh.
don't, we didn't make I didn't make bottom four predictions because you never know with some of these teams when they come
Hmm.
up. Like some, yeah, you kind of see it, but like you gotta wait till they start playing because look
Yeah.
what teams like Brentford have done, Sheffield, like all these teams have come in and like even when they go down, they just battle, man. And that this team came not scared of anything, which
It's
is
interesting. I mean, and
crazy.
both the goal scorers did come off injured, and hopefully it's light injuries and nothing bad to them, so that way they can keep going.
One was a
Yeah,
defender,
but
center back, right?
it's both
Ajay,
Mendy
both were center
and
back.
Ajay. Yep.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah,
Is remember set pieces. So once
yeah.
again, we keep showing that we're weak on the set piece. Um, but again, like you said, don't want to look too much into it. Naturally, everybody's going to talk about United losing because everybody has eyes on United. Even if you hate them and you love them, you always want to see United what United does because they just love to.
And of
You
course,
know,
we can't go without talking about Maguire holding his own player in the box,
yeah,
which is the meme of the week already. So he didn't
yeah.
take long to give us something to talk about early on. Obviously, we don't want to talk too much about it because it's our own team, but man, he really like divides the opinions. Like he can play so good sometimes, and sometimes he just does some of the dumbest shit, and it makes no sense, man.
Again, exactly. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. He's got thick skin, which is good. and that'll just kind of help. Yeah, just help them kind of go. And
Yeah, I mean it's a bad game. That's all it is. It's a bad
yeah,
game,
that's
bad start to the
that's.
season.
I'm not.
Carrick's telling us not to get carried away, and
I
I'll
wouldn't.
kind of
Yeah.
believe that too. I think last year, if we remember, United had the most shots on goal, the most shots I think on target, scored a boatload of goals. It's not going to be quiet
Yeah,
for long. So,
I'd say we're missing. We maybe miss players like center backs that we had like Lindelof, but I mean what
but
he
no,
did.
we're going to that game and see how much we miss that kind of player. So obviously,
Man,
next up, Aston Villa, which is going through a lot of shit also because forget the score line here. Obviously, 4-0 Brighton just lit them up. And it was in like the first 30 minutes. So wild
well
to
Lindelof with the first own goal in 8 minutes. So
yeah. To be fair, like that was a tough one because like
it is.
that ball was shot so hard. Like
It
he
is, but
just
it
put his
just set the
foot.
tone. Yeah,
It did
set the
set the
tone for
it
the
did
game.
set the
So
tone. But United Emery obviously without Ollie Watkins because Ollie Watkins now officially to Al Hilal. He was just waiting that, and he just was
yeah, that was
refusing to
surprising.
play. Yeah, why that guy would want to leave for that league instead of trying to show his worth because
I thought he had a chance for United because I
I did
figured
I did at
Xerxes
this
is
point
pretty
I
much
think
been told.
any of those guys, any of those strikers, Mateta who's linked now because Ali Watkins is gone, all those guys had a great opportunity to be a good like side by side with Sesko or battle it out to get games. There's a lot of games to play. Crazy
Mhm.
that that's where he's going. I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I mean, hey, the money, I guess.
I will say that this game was interesting because Villa started off when Dia always looks good when he plays. He had several chances for Villa before the first goal. He always seems to turn on teams and score some bangers, but he just couldn't put it in the back of the net. As you mentioned, Lindelof, unfortunately, the making that error for the first goal, but then all of a sudden, the Kuiper out of nowhere for Brighton just coming in and just making great runs from the back and just easy tap ins. 30 minutes, and then Hinshelwood was the other one that scored from a ball from Gomez on a he gets a header into the goal, but again it was a defensive error from Aston Villa who got pickpocketed, who might have benefited from that Arteta story where he had a magician come in and steal people from things from his players' pockets. Maybe they needed that training too. But
Yeah.
no, yeah, like Brighton just really came out and just tore up Aston Villa. There's no other way. They look like Tottenham from last season is what that seemed like, and which is wild to say because Aston Villa, you know, Champions League this year. Uh, you,
I mean, I had them in my top four.
we made predictions, yes, at the top of our, or no, at the end of our last show, and I had them second, I think, in my top four also. So again, we can't read into it too much. There's a lot happening with Villa team that players are leaving. Morgan Rogers left to Chelsea. Obviously, Ollie Watkins didn't play this game.
I
Um,
mean, first half they did go down to 10 men as well because 40 minutes in, João Gomes got a red card. So obviously that didn't help any already. I mean, they were already down, like you said. They scored what?
30 minutes. 30 minutes is
Yeah, 30
total
minutes. So in
goals.
the
Yeah,
40th minute, obviously 40th minute.
getting the red card. Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't help any. But at that point, I mean, as of right now, Brighton are in first in the league on goals.
Yeah, no,
So
hell of a show for them and two players that gave. We'll talk about fantasy later, but anyone that had them on the bench or with a bench boost or just in their starting lineup, anyone who captained the dude, insane points. So that's interesting. But as I mentioned, Tottenham from last season, that'll be the next game we talk to as well. And another game that maybe caught us all by surprise, since I have Tottenham in my top four as well. A lot of signings, new players coming into Tottenham. You thought
uh
with that coach, they would be able to put up a fight against Brentford. But no, Brentford came in and they did what Brighton did to Aston Villa. Surprising, they ripped apart Tottenham. I mean, they made them look like they were last season's team, and a little bit weird because again, in the 12th minute, give and go, easy, put it in the back of the net. In Tottenham early on, any team, I think, United included, you give up a goal that early, you're already in the back foot, right? So what do you think? Is it the same thing? Like you can't
No,
overreact first game. Like it's
to be
insane.
honest, I don't even think it's first game. I don't know how this season's gonna go because they have a lot of new players, and I believe they have 5 starters out that are injured. So
And
that's
Madison just got injured again too.
exactly. So I mean, I think that's a big difference. New team pretty much. They have a whole new squad. Again, a lot of injured players. The
Even
chemistry they need to build up.
their
And
goalkeeper
Brent,
too.
yeah, Brentford already are coming in from last season already. Brentford did okay, and then
Yeah,
Igor Thiago.
they were fighting
Thiago
for
scored
Champions
again.
League. Yeah.
Yeah, Thiago scored again. I mean, he didn't get a fair chance on in the World Cup because he had one bad game, and then pretty much Ancelotti's like, "Up, you're never playing again. It's gonna be Endrick every single time," which made no sense. Well, then why João Pedro didn't go? But anyways, but yeah, he scored. Yeah, they just look. Brentford look fresh. They look still kind of just off of last season. Obviously, their chemistry is good to go. I think Tottenham, I don't know if in the next game they'll be able to turn around because, like I said, I think they still need a lot of chemistry and for their starters to kind of come back and kind of inject themselves into that lineup.
I mean,
Even
and they picked up.
Kin,
I will
who's the
say,
goalie? Kinski? He's
yeah,
a young kid
they
too.
sold Vicario, so they have a new
Yeah,
keeper
so
that
they
came
got
in
he's
also.
23-year-old, so
Yeah.
he's a young kid. He's got a lot to learn and experience, so to kind of get that back line. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, not that you don't want to read into it too much, but it does show, hey, they didn't flow that quickly as of right now. So it might be a couple weeks before they can get in, and then obviously in the Premier League, if you fall too far behind, even if you have a good season, it just might be too little, too late. But
I think that's
we'll see.
the only thing someone said to me when we were talking about the games this week or last week is just like it's a league where you really can't take the chance of dropping points even this early because you have to beat the idea is you should beat the teams that you should expect to beat. And when you drop those points at the end of the season is where it comes back and haunts you and you're like, we really should have done better that game, right? So um, again, a lot of changes there, a lot of things happening for Tottenham. You think I'm assuming they'll turn it around, but just like them, another team making a lot of changes coming into the new season. Chelsea Fulham, the game on Monday. That was a pretty exciting game to watch. Also, um, we were curious how Morgan Rogers would play. Obviously, a new player coming from Villa over to Chelsea with Carson Palmer, Cole Palmer, who's back who was kind of injured towards the end of last season, did almost nothing. He didn't look himself, so you wonder how much it was injury related. Also, that he didn't play as well. He didn't make the England squad, of course. But him getting an assist to Morgan Rogers' first goal, who scores the first goal of the season, of course, for Chelsea. So the $100 million man coming in and making a move there for Xavi Alonso, who I'm assuming is going to do things like he did at Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know how you see it, but it was a close game in the end, but they kind of took this one pretty easily. I would say.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the score doesn't show. I believe they dominated a little more. Fulham still did a good job, but yeah, I think Chelsea are looking off to a good start. Interesting. I believe Reece James is playing like CDM versus kind of more on the outside because Gusto was on the right and then Hato was on the left. So um, that a little bit of a change, but
Kind of like a fluid like defense, right? Almost
yeah.
like they would shift into like a 4 or 3 depending on where he wanted to see them
hmm
playing. Yeah.
Enzo coming in off the bench is interesting. Not starting.
A lot of noise there because City
Yeah,
is inquiring and they're looking to buy him.
yeah.
So
I don't know if Enzo stays in England. If he's gonna stay, he's gonna stay in. I don't know if he'd stay in England
I
because
just don't
obviously
see where he goes, honestly.
they hate him. They hate him obviously because he's Argentinian, and Argentinians did a great job of making sure that the world hates them. Footballing aspect. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens because him coming off the bench is he is a starter quality. Other than personally or how what type of person he is or how how he does, but
I
with
mean
if this team looks good,
the bench.
Lavia, that kid, I mean, Lavia's.
I think the bench thing was just more of these players coming back from the World Cup. I think that's what you're seeing with some of these first
Maybe.
games, just giving
Yeah,
them.
because I don't. Obviously he starts over Lavia.
Yeah, because even
The kid had a
Bruno
good game.
Bruno only played the Milan game and then this game before he played. So a lot of these players are still getting their legs under them. I don't
Yeah.
know that they're 100% there. They need a couple of weeks. So that's probably why Enzo doesn't start. I think it's less to do with all the noise and more to do just that he went deep.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
And now we can talk to your signing for
I,
Chelsea that you wanted me
yeah.
to bring up.
Well, just one other game because they did play what cup was it? Is it Carabao Cup or
Yeah, Carabao Cup
FA
is
Cup?
Carabao Cup is what they've been playing.
They played Luton Town and he didn't start in that game either, so that's just why.
I think Xavi, if anything, he would save them from that game because it's one of those games where they kind of play some of the
Yeah.
players, not all of them.
Welbeck scored.
The young guys get an opportunity, but yeah, like I mentioned, big news, like you mentioned
Yep.
earlier in the
Emi
episode.
Martinez, yeah, that's interesting because I mean Sanchez.
There's no
He's
confidence in Sanchez. That's what I'll
yeah,
tell you.
he's 28 years old, so it's not like he's a kid. So I mean, him getting benched this season, which I can see. Obviously, if you're signing him and you're not benching him, so he's starting right away. So now Sanchez goes to the bench. So now what with him? I mean, with that news coming now, does Sanchez ask for a transfer last minute? We got a couple of days left to see if he leaves. To him, is it a slap in the face?
Well,
Does he go back to Spain?
I mean, the goal he gave up was terrible.
Sure,
He
I
should have
know,
saved
but
it.
um,
The
that's
second one,
literally,
I can't blame him as much, but like, like
funny enough, yeah. I mean, you open up and you click on his name, and it says highlights committed an error that led to a goal. That's his
I mean,
highlight.
it's on
So,
his first post, ball
hmm
wasn't shot anything crazy. I think it looks savable. Watching it now, I
yeah.
just don't see
I mean, them picking
how.
up Emmy, I think, is a big
I wonder how much
is
the noise affected him from the transfer rumors, or he's just maybe just not good enough. I mean, it's weird, right? Because it's
I
Barcelona
mean,
played
Emmy,
with
yeah.
Victor Valdez for a long time, and you wouldn't know. But does
I
that
mean,
mean
Emmy, like I said,
does that mean
Emmy.
Chelsea's defense also needs to get better, not just the fact that Sanchez is struggling?
I mean, it seems like the Lacroix and Achmepong had solid ratings. Just Caldwell was okay. He didn't have a great game. So at that point, I don't know because most of the defensive midfielders and defenders had a pretty solid game. So I don't know if and at that point, obviously, if your defense can't gain confidence because you're nervous that the keeper is going to make a mistake when you have a keeper in the back, I think Emmy obviously brings that. World Cup winner, has played great for Villa, has been consistent for years now. He's older, but he has plenty of experience, and he shows that he can still play great. So I think they're really pushing, obviously, to change it around from last season. They have no Champions League this year, so they definitely um, push for the league and the FA Cup, I would say. Even the Carabao Cup. So pretty much any trophy you can get your hands on because they're not playing any European league. So at this point, obviously, just focus on making top three easily and
I
winning
mean,
the other cups.
they're in the same boat, and the reason why I picked Tottenham to be in the top of the league because they have a united schedule this year. They're playing once every week, like maybe twice a week when these early cups, the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Chelsea's on the same road, right? Young team, great attacking players, new coach coming in that I think is gonna figure out how to use a young team because that's what he did at Leverkusen. Uh,
Yeah, I think Xabi Alonso is a great coach. I just think he being thrown into a situation at Real Madrid is going to be very hard because I think only coaches like Mourinho that have the experience and that know how to handle players that have egos can. So I don't think it was a right fit for him at Madrid because they didn't respect him enough. I guess because of coaching credentials, and he hasn't done it long enough. Just because Arbeloa is the same thing over there, so I think it wasn't fair to kind of give to base him off of that or his Leverkusen, which you could see obviously this first performance he's won that one and he beat Luton Town. So yeah, I think they'll be okay, and I think they'll definitely push for at this point, seeing how with things going on, I think they can easily push for a top four. Was it 5 up to 6
It just
Prem
depends.
leagues?
It
Depends,
depends.
right?
Yeah.
So, but obviously, yeah, they'll push for a top 3, top 4 spot. So, yeah.
A couple other notable matchups. We can talk about City barely squeezing out a win with Holland's new haircut
Ooh, we.
against Bournemouth. I will say, Tyler Adams got caught on that one. I know he came in as a sub, but it was his. He lost the mark, and Shirky scored that goal, the second goal to get the win. But interesting. I thought, I didn't captain Holland for my fantasy team because I don't even have Holland on my fantasy team because I didn't think coming back from the World Cup he was going to be kind of ready.
I
And
thought he was.
I think I was okay there. Um, but nothing too crazy with City.
Liverpool and
Liverpool,
Newcastle is crazy because
that one was.
Newcastle's a sinking ship, and then Liverpool's still tied. So that's
Yeah, which is crazy because I know last week in the episode we talked about how we thought that they were going to be better this season. What's his name, Isaac being healthy to start the season, having but Elanga just took all of the Liverpool defenders out. I will tell you, I know I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form, but watching Van Dijk backpedal and not go to Alanga and just take him out on that play. Like I know he wasn't that close, but you can see he's gonna take. Was it Willick? I forget who's on that side defending him. Oh, no, Lewis Hall, who United's tied to. He took Lewis Hall and just took him out. Like he stood no chance. But all I saw, if in the play, and not just that one, but the one with Wisa, dude, he's like backpedaling, and I know that's what he does because he's like a smart player. But he's just giving them time and space to create chances to score goals. And that's literally what happened here. That's why Newcastle went up 2-0. Um, no, excuse me. They were up 1. Gakpo scored from outside the box, which is interesting because Gakpo is rumored to be leaving because of all the things happening there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, then like I said, Wisa goes down the middle, just 5 guys around him for Liverpool, and then he just passes it off to get a goal for Joe Willock, who's also apparently on the way out. And then softest pen in the world, probably maybe not that soft, but it was a mistake. But then they get bailed out, getting a pen in the 95th minute of that game.
Which looks like Sabasala is going to be the new pen taker. Salah, Salah was their
Uh,
go-to guy for
he
penalties.
put
So,
that shit in the roof, and nobody was saving
uh,
that shot.
exactly. So yeah, that's probably cements him. But that was an interesting one. Um,
Yeah, it's an
so
interesting one because in especially with our predictions, like in how we talked
I
about some of
mean,
these
at least
teams.
Newcastle, yeah, which I think Newcastle maybe shown, hey, just because, yeah, whatever we're doing, we're not actually a
Hey,
sinking ship.
I mean,
So,
what does it say? What does it say more though? That Newcastle made the right moves to get rid of a lot of these players, or is it just that Liverpool continues that bad path from last season with their new coach?
both. I think both. Yeah.
There's not one
Um,
answer. It's both.
well, I wouldn't say Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool have to find an identity because even though Salah was, he wasn't Salah last year, it's still a big player to lose, and now you have to pretty much reshape a team again around who, you know what I mean? So that'll be interesting. We'll see what happens again. First, still early on, first game of the season. Yeah, other than that,
I
like I
will go
said,
through the other ones real quick. Leeds continuing the momentum from last season, going beating Nottingham Forest 1-0. Ipswich, Ed Sheeran's team, surprising Sunderland. Sunderland was really pretty good last year, beating them
mhm.
2-1 in their home opener. So that was interesting. And then Everton coming out strong to start the season. Crystal
Against
Palace.
Palace.
I think Crystal Palace might be in the relegation battle this season because they lost a couple players. They lost their coach, which kind of sucks because obviously the American Gozo went there to play with Chris Richards. I hope that's not the
Yeah.
case with this team because I felt like they did enough, and it's not like they got depleted. But I guess you lose enough in a team like that, then you really, especially because they're going to be battling on multiple fronts also. So can they manage the schedule this year? Losing their coach, it looks like their coach that came in is not too bad, but still, like it's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah. One quick shout out. I totally forgot while we were talking about Newcastle. Shout out to Wisa because obviously that player, I feel he's very severely underrated, and I think he's a really good player. And then him being at Newcastle, he did get an assist, but I think that he's a quality player that doesn't get enough credit because when you see him play, even in the World Cup, he's a solid dude, and anytime he plays against United, it's always be on the lookout for him. So we'll see how he does this season with Newcastle, and we'll see how that goes.
I won't say it's much saying it against United because everybody's good against United,
Well, yeah, but
but no, he is a solid player. I actually I thought that was a player that United should really consider signing when he was at Newcastle. It made sense for them to grab up a guy that wasn't going to be that expensive,
yeah,
and it's strong,
United
good
just
up top. Yeah,
is what it
I mean
is.
they're
But
getting better, but all
yeah,
right. So let's go. After all these matches, of course, we dive into what is the fantasy league that
tell
we
me your
have,
fantasy.
which pretty interesting to start. I did make a crazy move, maybe not the craziest because a lot of other people I saw doing it as well. But I put my bench boost on early because I really wasn't sure what this first week was going to be like. I wound up with 54 points to start the week, which wasn't the best. Let's see, in our league.
Still a lot more than mine. I got 44, so I had a terrible
So
season.
in
So
the we're gonna shout out people in our league that are. So we actually got quite a bit of people to join. I didn't even realize it was this heavy.
you got
Um,
15 guys, or are you talking about the?
no, I'm talking about
Oh
our.
yeah, the beautiful
There's
game. Yeah, man, we
41
got
people that joined.
41
Shout
people.
out to all
Yeah,
those people that joined. A guy from my job actually, that guy at the top, 95 points first week. That is
yeah.
incredible. That is almost double what I got. So kudos to him. It looks like he had the Kuiper, he had Coyote for Brentford, who did well, obviously, and he captained João Pedro. So um,
Yeah.
hell of a point. The max was
Cooper. Yeah,
131, which is wild.
it's crazy how he got 95 with still having Anderson, Riley, and Holland getting him 2 points. The three City guys. So the three guys you'd probably expect to have probably better points got him the least amount of points, which is insane.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have already made my first move to start for next week. I put in Choli's for Arsenal. He looked pretty good. And I who did I don't even remember who I took out, but um, I would say it's a decent start. But the only reason why I had a decent start was because I used the bench boost. Because if I didn't, that was gonna be awful for me to start the season. So
yeah, no, yeah, I started low, so I'll start. But yeah, we'll see how it takes off. Um,
looks like looks like Arsenal players are definitely worth picking up. That's why I have Calafiori in the back, especially since he likes to go forward. Is Cole Palmer a guy that we should be considering? It looks like he's a guy that may be better this season than what he was.
yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Has he resurrected? He has produced 200 plus points in the last two, except the season before. He is 2.5 million cheaper than Bruno, and
Which really hurt me because that was my captain this week. So
yeah, so exactly. But another, I guess, other guys, that I would say is Arsenal defense. Are they all worth picking up? Because they all look good. Who do you pick up? Who's going to come in? Who's not going to play? I mean, obviously, Gabriel is I think Gabriel and Califieri are definitely the guaranteed point starters and probably play. The other guys are going to be rotating.
yeah, because
Uh,
Ben White's always like maybe not.
Kansa coming in, exactly. So that's interesting as far as where Arsenal go
They're
with
just
that one.
expensive, and that's the problem. Is like all these guys.
Hmm.
Akansa, I think, was
Especially
only
as
like
defenders.
four. Is he like 4.5? I think
I
he
don't
was on the
know.
cheaper side because I had him and then I got rid of
Yeah.
him. So
So yeah, I mean, if you want, like, I guess guys under 7 mil, João Pedro,
I had
Brentford's Ayer,
I had
who
him.
had a good, obviously he scored. He's only 4.5 mil. Sangari's 5.5 mil. Everton's Tarkowski and Dewsbury Hall earned six and a half.
I had Dewsbury Hall last season. It was inconsistent, so I'm surprised that's the one that people are considering. To be
Yeah,
honest
they're
with
still
you.
considering him. So Leeds, Bijol, because they had again 1-0 win,
Shout out
and
him.
Statch as well, so 6 mil. So those are all any. But other than any, I don't know if there's any other performances, any other top performances that are missed out. But those are at least under the 7 mil. I think are
I
quality.
think this
Again,
first week is a little
that's what I'm
fluky,
saying.
to be
First game of the
honest.
week, so I
Very
don't know
fluky with the Kuiper getting all
season.
those points. Yeah.
Yeah, first game of the season. So yeah, you don't want to again, like we told our nephew Eric, because he was like, hey, he was ready to throw in his chip and go get a whole brand new team. But I said just give it a week, give it 2 weeks. Go to at least maybe week 4 or 5 before you say, okay, cool. I really need to make a big change before you throw in the chip and change out your whole squad out or 4 or 5 guys in at one shot just to see who's consistently giving you performances. Um, because yeah, at least, and even if you don't want to wait that long, wait till at least week 3. Give it one more week this coming weekend, and then make your decision.
Yeah, no,
Interesting.
no, it was
I
definitely
made
an
one change too. Yeah, that's it.
interesting week in fantasy. So we'll continue to talk about that each episode
Yeah,
as the
yeah,
games come thick and fast here each week. Even international break coming soon too, which is wild.
yeah.
Anyway, on that note, we
I
did
wish we had a
mention.
transition where we can just kind of get an eagle right now. Just
Uh, Maybe I can fit that in an edit.
look at it.
Americans abroad. So that's where we're going next. I did mention Gozo and Chris Richards earlier. So obviously, a lot of Americans now after the World Cup seeming to start to fizzle into Europe. Middlesbrough, as we said, they just picked up another American kid, so there's 4 there now. A little unknown this one, but interesting. Arfston had a bad week in this last game they played. But Xavier Gozo, the big move, $15 million to Crystal Palace, as I mentioned before, playing alongside Chris Richards. Uh, Curious to see how he does. He's the
He's
guy
gonna
that
get taste of Europa play too, so it's not like he's just going to the Premier League. He's actually gonna also play against top teams in Europe. So yeah, that'll be hopefully we'll see how many minutes he gets, how they flow, how he fits into the team, and hopefully it's good things for him.
yeah, how effective he can be because he's still
Yeah,
young and is
yeah.
his body ready for that grind? Because I think
hmm
that grind
hmm
is and he's a
That's a
young
big
kid, so
change. I'm sure Chris Richards definitely spoke to him, and he's had a good conversation, good amount
he's
of
confident
talking to him.
though.
So
He
it's good,
seems like he wants it bad. So
which is
I
good. We need that.
I mentioned Middlesbrough with the extra signing of another
hmm
American, of course. So that's Team America. I'm gonna maybe start watching the championship just to
Yeah,
watch them now. But
the United States of Middlesbrough. Yeah.
Berhalter, Arston, and now and Aiden Morris, who's been there obviously. So that's the watch
See if we
there.
can get him pushed up to the Premier League, and then the Americans help out. That'd be great.
Yeah, fuck Wrexham. And then the French league, we had Gio Reyna obviously joining Strasbourg. I think he got 20 minutes in this last recent game, so we'll see if he continues to kind of
If
start
yeah,
making his way
or if
into the
he's
starting
just
lineup.
our Mexican, just kind of like how all other Mexicans they just don't do anything, and the World Cup comes and they play great, and then they go off to Europe and then they don't do shit, and then they still play on the national team.
Probably I
Hopefully
said
not.
Arochoa,
Yeah.
maybe not
Well, there's
all of them.
plenty of
Yeah.
there's a lot of Mexican players, but
Mark McKenzie did make his move back to Philadelphia Union, I believe. He left
did he?
Toulouse, yeah, which is kind of
Oh,
insane, considering he's still one of the better center backs that we have. And
I thought he just joined Toulouse.
no, he's been there. He decided to leave though, and he came back to the U.S. So that was a recent news with Mark McKenzie coming back to the U.S. and MLS. Not sure your thoughts there. It just to me,
Dumb.
it's a bad move when you want to be considered for the national team. So, I for family reasons, I get it. If that's why you wanted to come back, maybe it's just time for you to come home. But competition wise, I just it's not a great move.
Yeah.
Tillman
No.
started for Leverkusen, who won 4-0. Um, he's got a lot to prove this season because there's a new coach again. With when he went there, he was signed by Ten Hag, who was canned after
Had
four
a
weeks,
three six
and then he
three
had a
36
and then he
minutes.
had
Yeah.
a tough week, a tough year before getting to the World Cup. He had a great World Cup, obviously. So hoping he kind of
I
takes that momentum into this
yeah.
season, of course.
Which it looks like he did that game, helped him out, so it looked like he looked pretty solid in that game. So I'll take it.
Other notables also, Weah McKennie, strong starts playing for their teams. McKennie obviously at Juventus and Weah captaining Marseille, which is to all of you that don't understand, or I know everyone knows the Man Cities, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids. Marseille is a huge name in world football.
hmm
For an American, and not he's not the only one. There's several Americans now that are captaining their teams.
Captaining, yeah, absolutely.
Gianluca Buzio in Venezia, who's been up and down with that team. He's now the captain of that team, and we're hoping he sees a sniff with the national team as well. Weah, who had a subpar World Cup, I was basically throwing him out the door.
Yeah, and you see, and I still said it. No, like that's why I like Way. I just maybe it's the
I
way
just
he's
think he
utilized
got
for the
caught in
nice
a
team.
bad moment.
Yeah,
That's
and the
fine.
way he's utilized on the team. But yeah, he's again, yeah,
And
that's
this was the crazy thing about this is the coach's choice. The coach chose to make him the captain of that team. So a lot for players to look up to him. A guy who's now a veteran, especially in that league. He's kind of bounced around a couple of teams there, but hopefully he kind of turns it around and gets his way back into the national team in the good graces of Pochettino. Um, and then Des is continuing to play well. He had a subpar World Cup also, but scoring for PSV over the weekend. Pepe as well, getting goals. So those two seem to continue the wave with that team as they're going, hoping for back to back titles since they won last season. So shout outs to them doing their thing and continuing to progress. I know we had a lot of chatter about Pepe not being the guy for us up top. Balogun obviously took the throne there. We're still waiting to see with Balogun also, like, is he moving? Is he not? Because there's a lot of his name
yeah, a
is
lot of
bouncing
rumor
all
of
over
where
the
he's
place.
going, Premier League, other
Tottenham. I've
places.
heard Barcelona
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, I've
Like
heard. Yeah,
a lot of
Spain. I think even Italy. As well, as long as he gets settled and he does well. I think Monaco is not growing anymore, so I think he needs to move from there. I even heard PSG actually too. So
I did.
um,
That was early on, but I haven't heard anything
yeah,
on it. But
so we'll see. Dest actually had a great. I think man of the match for. He pretty much had an assist as well, so he had a solid game for in that one. So Dest is still continuing to show that no reason. I don't understand why Barcelona got rid of him because they still don't have a
he's
quality.
just because he's not Spanish. Honestly, I think that's the reason they got rid of him. Some of the other guys that are there, they're not Spanish because they grew up the Cruyff way, so that's why they're there.
Yeah.
And I will throw this one first before we go into the big one. George Campbell captaining West
Hmm.
Brom also in the championship and took on Newcastle over the week, middle of the week, a game. I believe Newcastle took that one. But again, another
Yeah.
American,
Slight.
another American captaining a big team in England. West Brom's not a small team that's bounced up and down between the Premier League and the Championship. So shout out there. I'll let you go ham on
Well,
this next one.
actually, one little quick note. Looks like Cardoso's back. He didn't play for Atletico, but looks like he's back on the bench. So that's important because I think moving forward we will. He was a solid player. He had a really great season for Atletico, and I was looking forward to see how he was going to help the midfield for us in the World Cup. Unfortunately, he got injured. Looks like he's back on the bench, so hopefully he has another great season and good things to come. So just quick shout out to Cardoso.
And what's his name? Antonio Freeman. Freeman did not get any minutes or very limited minutes for Villarreal. So curious
Yeah, we'll
watching
see.
that, see how
Yeah,
that goes.
maybe World Cup again, give him a little rest, but we'll see. But yeah, with this next one was huge. I guess any Scottish fans that we have and everything, I'm sorry, but it was a great game. Celtic versus freaking Lask was a hell of a game. Um, I saw the score, but I was like, so I didn't watch the game, and then I
So
decided to watch
let's
the
let's
highlights,
set
and
the
oh
stage.
my God,
Let's set the stage because Celtic going into this one. This is a
three
play.
nil.
This is a play-in for the Champions League spot, right? Celtic, like Will just said, was up 3-0 on the aggregate score, so should have been cruise control,
Mm-hmm.
for this match. And
They have
then,
the experience. They have been in the Champions League before. They have bigger team, bigger history.
but they have the
Globally,
center back who was the player of the season for them,
I
in
mean,
Cameron
yeah,
Carter Vickers. So
we had two center backs now, trusty American center backs, Trusty and Cameron Carter Vickers playing for them. So it was definitely all in the works. And then the game was an amazing game. It started off back and forth. It was Lask actually no, Celtic had quite a few opportunities. I was like from the looks of it, obviously I knew the score, but from the looks of it, it just looks like they were going to score more and blow out Lask, and they wound up scoring first, so it was 4-0. So at this point, I was just like, wow, like how? And slowly enough, who else but American Samuel Adrian. I don't know his name too well.
Adeniran.
Adeniran, sorry, yeah, but because we haven't really heard him too much. But
Yeah, he's
now I
bounced
definitely want to.
around everywhere. For
Yeah,
those of you that are, if you're young and you have a dream, that guy figured it out. And maybe watch his story. Go look him up.
yeah.
Dude's been everywhere and did this.
Started and he balled out. He scored a screamer. It was like a 25-yard strike, and so
Outside the
that's where
box.
he
Yeah.
yeah, so top bin. So it was definitely that was
On his weak
just
foot also.
just to start. But that game pretty much he scored again with his weak foot after. So he scored 2 goals in that game, which all right, cool 4-2. But no, obviously that game just kept going, and last registered 40 shots, which is insane.
It's as insane as
And
shooting 40 free throws in a basketball game. Like that is
yeah,
that is
pretty much.
nuts.
Yes,
Even in a
40
basketball
shots,
game,
yeah.
40 free throws is wild. Or 43 pointers. Let's go with that.
So then they turned it around. They had a crazy game and they wound up winning the game 5-1, which overall on globally in the marker between both games they wound up going 5-4, knocking out Celtic, which is it was just definitely it was a shocker to Celtic not getting in because
Celtic being the
naturally.
giant for Scotland.
And then it's the first time for Laska ever getting into the Champions League, so it was huge. George Bello, who was also another American on that team on Lask, he played all 120 minutes, and he was very crucial because he
Interesting because
shut down Celtic.
that dude disappeared for a while. We
Yeah,
kind of he was in the
I
national
remember
team
I'd heard
pool.
about him. Yeah, and
He
then just,
played for
yeah,
the U.S. a few times, and then he just kind of went dark. Um, Interesting, that those two guys. It's great. It's great for us as Americans, obviously, watching the European game to see teams not only playing in Champions League, a lot less playing in Champions League this year because Juventus, Milan are all in the in Europa League this year. But even then, like these guys making their way now into the Champions League for this season, huge, huge opportunity and stage for them to really make a name for themselves. Uh, no one's
just
gonna
give more
no one's gonna give them a chance,
more.
but those guys
Yeah,
are gonna be there, man, which is great.
and I would say a little more of maybe just to kind of motivate American kids if they start watching European and they want to see American guys. There's a lot of American European play, guys sprinkled here and there. So definitely it was a great game. I guess on the other hand, for our American center backs, they had a good. I mean, they cleared a ton of. They had a ton of clearances. I want to say it was like 22. I forgot how many clearances each. But it seems like Carter Vickers just couldn't.
He
He just had a
continues
lot of. He had a lot of cramps,
he
so he couldn't.
continues his like just inability to stay healthy. Like that dude.
Well, he played 90 minutes. It's just he cramped up, and they had to sub him out. So when
I mean,
he
chasing that
started
many
cramping out,
goals.
90 minutes, yeah, exactly. So then when I guess the coach just he panicked too much, and he made a lot of crazy changes, and that just gave Lask more confidence. And then obviously Trusty couldn't. Having he's already new coming in, and then having to adjust to everything, they just couldn't handle it, and it just obviously the scoreline, although it was obviously 5-1, they still had. It's hard to say they had a solid game, but as far as on paper, their clearances and pretty much how they defensively approached the game, that they just got attacked.
It's like they couldn't figure
Um,
out how to
yeah,
organize those players in
but
front of them.
yeah, so it's definitely sucks for them. Champions League, I believe now they'll have a chance to play in the Europa.
Yeah, for those
Um,
of you guys that have Paramount Plus, just go watch that game. Like
yeah, yeah.
if
If you
you want to
can, if
watch a
not,
game to
YouTube it.
go watch
If
that
you
game.
want to watch it fully, if you want to watch the highlights on YouTube, absolutely just check it out. It was an awesome game. But yeah, that was definitely a super exciting um, game that to start the season. You're starting after the World Cup, so that's cool. Check it out.
We don't have this. We don't have this in our notes, but I want to close the episode out on this question, and we can take this into another episode.
Actually, well, I got a surprise after too, so
All right. Um,
yeah.
there's a big thing happening in a group chat at my job where it's one guy, really, a couple guys. We keep having this conversation about La Liga. He says the Liga is the better league than the Premier League, and it's a question that I ask you. I'll ask people that are listening or people that want to kind of chime in, whether you do it on any of our socials or you want to just, in our YouTube just video, let us know what you think. Which league is the better league? Is it the Premier League or is it La Liga?
That's you know, it's tough. From a footballing aspect, it is a prettier game. I would go La Liga as a prettier game because the Premier League is a lot more, you know, in the air, run and gun, counter play.
Very
It all
basketball
depends
like,
on,
yes. Very
yeah.
hockey
So
like,
it's
yes.
so if you're a football fan, it's not so much the game you ever want to play. I don't like playing like that. I like playing possession, build up, and control the game, right? But that's not exciting. But from footballing aspect, I would have to go La Liga. But when you look at everything else, marketing, excitement, week to week, the capacity of the fan bases, because again, you watch a La Liga, which Girona versus Celta Vigo. I don't even know if they're still in La Liga, if they didn't get demoted or not. But you watch that, and there's maybe 30 people in the stadium because I'm
Well, no,
exaggerating.
no,
I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating, but they don't fill up the way the Premier League
they
is
do.
always sold out. No, they don't. You can watch games
Except
on any
City.
given. Well, yeah, but they don't count. It's like Kim Jong Un and putting plastic things, when people go by. But anyways,
Let me throw this additional question into this because that's where I go.
and
That's where I go
well,
with. I understand your point about
and
entertainment versus the
also, I
beauty of the
mean,
game.
also you got to think about it because when they do face each other in European tournaments, I mean, last season, England dominated. England pretty much, I believe, they knocked out every single Spanish team, and
Well,
there's
they
a
won
lot
the
of English
Conference
teams.
League and the Europa League, yeah.
Yeah, and they almost won the Champions League, and they made it further. Still had Arsenal make it to the final
But it's the
versus no
first time in
Spanish.
a long time, yeah.
Well, exactly. So either is it the tide's turning where we can start saying it, or we'll see what happens this season. So as of obviously last season, we can say the English teams were better, but overall the Spanish leagues won any time. Even when United had to play, who was it that they always get destroyed? Villarreal? No, Valencia. Valencia hasn't won a league. I don't even know if they ever even
They,
won a
they,
league
they
the last
got
time
they
they won
got
a league.
demoted. They're
Exactly. And United every time they faced them they got destroyed. They couldn't handle them. So it's kind of goes and shows like, well, your big bad league is getting beat out by a mid-table team or a team that's now demoted, right? So it's hard because yeah, when they play each other,
Well,
um,
here's my follow up to that because I hear everything you're saying and I acknowledge I'm not saying it's incorrect. The thing that I always think to though is though when you think about every week in those leagues, the Premier League is a battle every week, and those teams are constantly fighting each other to get a result. In La Liga, you have three, four teams that really are challenging for Champions League, and then everyone else is just like, all right, we know we're gonna lose. We'll play them, but we know we're gonna lose, so we're just gonna battle it out to play Europe, and then they save themselves for that because they know that that's where they need to be, because that's where they potentially can make a run to win a trophy. So does that make is that why those
so
teams can be? It's really bad. I saw the stats.
no, I get what you're saying, no, but so you told me no, right? So here's just kind of not to ignore your question, but Rayo Vallecano played Deportivo Alaves. Their stadium holds 15,500 people. Attendance 4,280. So you can't tell me. So you know what I mean. So again, and let me pull up a Premier League team. Um,
Yeah, Fulham is only like
and
18, 20,000,
but
and
even that,
they
but it
fill out
doesn't.
every
But
game.
yeah. So let's go Premier League. Let's go. Let's see what game was a lower a lower league game that. Yeah.
Ipswich
Let me put
versus
Ipswich Sunderland exactly. Ipswich and Sunderland. So let's see. Capacity was 30,056, 29,669. So they were 99% capacity. So that's what I mean when people try to tell me, that's why you thought it wasn't, but you see how bad that is.
yeah.
That if it's not even Real Madrid played Espanyol, capacity 40,423. They were only 82% capacity. 33,000 people showed up to the game. So they still didn't. They still had 7,000 seats open. Well, let's look at Plastic City. Let's just because obviously they're fake fans, but let's see how many they had.
It just depends if
I
there
mean,
was a carnival in town that they
yeah.
wanted
But
to
let's
attend
see.
the
Well,
game.
again, they didn't play. They played at Bournemouth, so obviously, did they play at City? I don't know where they played.
No, I
Where
think
was
they
this
played
game
in
at?
Bournemouth.
They played in Manchester.
Did they?
So in Manchester, yep. 61,470 capacity, attendance 60,645. They were 99% capacity. So even a fake team that still doesn't have real fans, they're 99% capacity. So again, Real Madrid, Barca and Real are the biggest, and the Barca was still at 80 something percent capacity. So if it's exciting, if it's that great of a game, how are they not filling up capacity? If Spain, that's all they live for, right? Well, they have other sports, but obviously football is the sport just like it is in England. So you can't tell me exactly that. If it's that exciting,
I mean,
why does nobody go watch
it
a
just
small team?
sounds like the question's still open for debate. It's always going to be a hot topic.
Footballing aspect, like I said, footballing aspect, it depends on the game you like to play. I don't think a lot of people like to play that over the top, basketball-esque footballing, um, versus a prettier style of play, more controlled, more possession and build up. So from football aspect, if I'm going to play in a team, I would like to play in a team like that from a Spanish type of team that plays, builds up and plays comfortably versus a counterattack team. I hate counterattacks. It just reminds me of Central American. Kick the ball up top and hope you get it. And then, you know what I mean? Like, obviously way more organized. Not that bad, but you get what I'm going to. So yes, when it comes to that, but excitement, like you said, smaller teams any given week will give it to a big team, and they don't fear them. It seems like they actually play up to the level versus get scared. Oh my God, Real Madrid's coming in town. Let me get scared. Barcelona's coming in. Let me lose 7-0 because I'm scared. You know what I mean?
I mean, and
So
just in the opening weekend, Hull beating United, Ipswich beating
exactly,
Sunderland. Like, you saw games where you're just
teams
like,
that
these finally
just
should
came
come
up from
up.
the
Yeah.
second division. Yeah. So exactly. So it's I would say it's up for debate. Better footballing style. I would say Spain, the type of play. But like we said last season, obviously the Prem teams were the ones that showed up all the way in all the tournaments. So we will see what happens this season. And if that's the second, if that happens, then now we got two.
But there's a lot of mix of teams in Europa this year because obviously, like I said, Juventus, Milan, like teams that normally in the Champions League are going to be fighting it out now in that league because they need to
Oh yeah,
win to play Champions League next
yeah,
season. So that
yeah.
should be interesting.
So yeah, so that's it. It again, it depends on how you want to see it. But obviously, like I said, nobody wants to see those teams that and yeah, not even people in Spain wanted to see the 4,000 people show up to the game. Like seriously,
Which
come
is
on.
wild to me because if I was close to a stadium like that, I'm there every
You know what
week,
I'm
no
saying?
matter
Yeah.
what, man. That's
So,
crazy.
but if that
I
one
have to
last
drive an hour and a half to go to watch FC Dallas, which is
FC Dallas, exactly.
terrible.
I had to drive 20 minutes to go watch Orlando, and I still haven't. I watched one game, and yeah. And they were playing Miami, so and Messi didn't even show up, but it was still exciting. I know my last surprise I got came in my
Ooh,
autographed
look at that
Ronaldinho
hot fire right there.
Beckett authenticated, so it has. Yeah,
For all of
and
you that want to claim that whatever players exist now are the best players,
and
that man
it's
right
beautiful
there.
because this is
Oh,
when they beat
Arsenal.
even better. And I didn't even know, honestly, I didn't even look at that one. I just saw Champions League and I didn't realize until I opened it right now. I was like, that's even better. I love the fact that it's Arsenal on there. So that way, and obviously Barca beat Arsenal that year. So it's beautiful that I have it. I'm going to get a frame, probably put it back. Well, actually, the wife actually wants it downstairs and on the frame. So she wants it displayed around
She
the
don't want
house.
a Ronaldo jersey in there somewhere because
Oh,
that's
I'm sure, yeah, she does. But I mean, to be fair, I looked at it and you can't get one for like under 1 grand, so it's gonna be tough. But I'd get the United one, but I should still be okay with it, because it's Ronaldo. But
yeah, no, makes
you
sense.
know,
All right.
but yeah, so
That's fantastic.
that's
I am
that's
down
it.
for that all day, every day. And I think on that note, we maybe leave with something that will hopefully get us going for the rest of the season. Let me put this up here. Let's see how that sounds. Oh, just going to get. I'm trying to get the right one.
I wouldn't even play that right now. Not after this week. Maybe after next week.
It'll come. I believe in Carrick.
We will stay hopeful.
All right. On that note, everyone who's listened, thank you for listening. Please continue to subscribe, watch, share, like all the socials, TikTok, Instagram. We got YouTube. You can subscribe there for free. It doesn't hurt. Just like it. You don't have to do
Just like
anything.
it, yeah. Get
Share.
us some sponsors. I want some like free, like, protein donuts or something. You know what I mean? If they'll give us, free packs, whatever, man.
I'm back in the game. Also trying to get my prime rib pirlo going. I did post the short after the game today, so I had a pretty. I could have had an assist today. The guy couldn't score the goal, but
Man, yeah, my league, we lost the slot to get into third play to the finals, and then we got fourth place. But I wound up switching into the field in the last game, and I wound up scoring with my weak foot. So I didn't record it. I should have recorded, but
I had a terrible shot, but I had almost an assist, so I was a little happy. We tied 6-6 again at the end. Our team just couldn't defend. We were up 6-5 with seconds left, and we gave one up again. So that's 2 ties in a row after we lost the first game of the season. So we should have 6 points, but instead we have 2. So on that note, thank you again, everyone. Keep following. We'll be back next week. A lot of games coming. Thick and fast. Be ready.
Yes, sir.
Be ready
Yes,
with
sir.
that fantasy. Don't forget to change your lineup before tomorrow, because there is a game. So keep up the good work, guys.
Good luck. Yeah, have a good one.
All righty.
Powered by Riverside.